Hey, Andrew, I was watching your debate with Mark Reed on Modern Day Debate and on the declining birth rates.
Yeah.
I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I told him in the Netherlands as well, we are declining rapidly.
Yeah.
It's about 1.4% per woman, something of 1.4 child per woman. And he just said, "Yeah, so what, man? Who cares?"
Yeah.
Well, we should all care. What would be your rebuttal to someone saying shit like that?
Yeah. So there's two main things that I would attack. The first is that there was a book. You can look this story up and you should. It's called The Population Bomb. And it was written by a guy who was basically postulating that when the population of the future, when it reached, 6, 7, 8 billion, that it was going to have these massive detrimental effects and the world was going to end up starving. Half the world was going to end up starving. They dropped this book all over the world in order to get people to curtail, their reproductive habits and this kind of thing. And it was a big deal. The population bomb was a big deal. And this is where you got like that we need to send condoms all over the world because these third world people are going to start eating us out of house and home, blah, blah, blah. It actually, the opposite effect happened. What we found out was when you have a massive human capital to draw off of, they can actually work the land and they can handle the logistics of the delivery of these products in a way that you can't do with limited human capital. So that's what's so funny about it, right? It's like global logistics requires tons and tons and tons of people, it requires billions of people working in unison to deliver all these goods all over the place and produce them. And actually, by removing that human capital, you don't curtail it moderately. You curtail it majorly. So if here's a good way to think about it. If you take one man's labor, right, and then you add another man, it doesn't actually double his labor output. He now has 4 times the labor output, right? And that's how it kind of quantifies, right? When you have more people, like for instance, if you want to see something amazing, you can watch a well-trained military unit set up an entire base camp in 20 minutes, right? With that
Yeah,
human labor. It's incredible to watch, right? It's like ants just all, you know what I mean? All
yeah,
running through
exactly.
and
Yeah,
setting it all up. But if you take even half of that away, it doesn't become 40 minutes, it becomes an hour and a half. Becomes an hour and a half
yeah,
because you're curtailing so much labor. Not only that, but then kind of the second issue is, okay, if we're not replacing ourselves, how are we keeping our population up? That's going to be through mass migration, right? So then
yeah,
all you're
exactly.
really talking about doing is just replacing our people group. That's it.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing in Europe for a very long time
Yeah.
now. I think about 60, 70, maybe 80 years. But then the problem would still be, at least for as I'm concerned, when you get all those people, all those migrants in, who's going to populate those countries?
Well,
Because eventually,
it's worse. When you
it'll,
bring the migrants in,
yeah,
by the second generation, they have the same reproductive rates that the domestic population has. So all you're constantly having to appeal to other groups of people who are reproducing to eventually replace the entire group that you have. And of course, people like the Japanese and the Koreans and things like that, they don't want their people group to be replaced. And so their governments are like, wait a second, we would still like to keep our Japanese nation, Japan. And so they're trying to have reproductive policies for that to be the case. And what a leftist will just say is they'll be like, oh, well, that's fine. Who cares?
yeah, exactly.
That's
We'll,
fine. Who
we'll,
cares? Go ahead and replace Malcolm. Who cares? You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I think it's visceral. It's like a visceral reaction from people when you say the domestic people group who can't replace. Like if you were to ask a leftist, for instance, what about Native Americans? Is it okay that their people group is being replaced because they're not reproducing? They'd be like, no, we want to preserve that people group, right?
yeah, exactly,
So yeah, so
exactly.
it would be the same argument the other way.
Okay, well, thank you, man. Really
Hmm.
appreciate it, and
Yeah, have a
have a
good
good
day,
one.
brother. Take
You
care.
too, man.
So, quick thing, Gen Z men. Recently, a YouGov poll came out that Gen Z has drastically swapped their opinion of Trump over the last few months, especially men. Now, I have my own theory on
From
why.
what to what though?
Let me find it. Um,
And the Yankees suck, by the way.
Yankees don't. Wait, what do you? Wait, I thought you don't do sports.
I don't. I was just reading the chat, and I thought that he would be offended if I didn't tell you that on his behalf.
We're taking the division. It's fine. We got a great third baser today.
Hey, guy incognito, I got your back, bro.
Nah, f 'em. I forgot. I can't find the numbers before, but now allegedly it's 53% of men disapprove Trump. It's under 30. Disapprove, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that because of the Epstein stuff, though?
I think it is. That's my theory. I think it's the Epstein stuff.
Well, what else? What else changed? There's like nothing else to change.
I think the bombing overseas.
Yeah. Well, how long ago was the poll? Because that was over and done with in like 5 minutes.
This was over the last month and a half. So kind of weird range.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be more Epstein files related, huh?
Yeah, that's why I think. So how do we feel about that? Do we think Trump is going the wrong way and the admin's going the wrong way to lose the portion of men they've actually got from the younger generation?
Well, I think that they're banking politically on the fact that people have very short memories and move on to the next big thing very quickly. Democrats right now are completely capitalizing on this, the idea of the Epstein files. They seem to be having the time of their lives, essentially watching the base tear itself to pieces over the fact that they demanded that these files be released and were promised that they were going to be. And now it seems like Trump and the administration is stonewalling the release. But here's the thing that's interesting, right, is they could be right. It could be that just simply holding out for enough time, people will eventually lose interest and move on to other things. That does seem to be a trend. So, whatever the latest poll shows, I'm not so sure I would take that to heart just yet.
I agree, but maybe they'll forget in the next year or two, right? Short memories when it comes to us voters. But I know for a fact that Dems are going to just plaster it all over commercials and media when it comes to the next election cycle. I just think
so what? Trump can't run again. Trump can't run again.
We all know JD Vance is going to take his stead.
Yeah, and all Vance will say is like, "Hey, I will release him."
Come on. How dumb do you think everyone is to fall for it again? You got this boon. You won over the younger generation. Yeah. You won over young men specifically through a few things, but you promised this one thing that was really important to a lot of voters, and you just spat on their face.
Yeah, again, though, Gen Z is not the voting bloc that either side on the political aisle is after, because they don't show up and vote. They don't.
100%. But
ultimately, who gives a shit? By the time they get to the age where they give a shit, our age, right? They're all going to hate Democrats anyway. So it's like right now, the ebb and flow of Gen Z being based or not based, ultimately for national politics doesn't really matter that much because they don't do anything. They don't vote, right?
Sure, I'll grant you that. Now, do you not think it's also hurt the Republicans in general and Trump specifically when it comes to more than just Gen Z?
Yes.
Do we also see that as a problem?
Depends. Like, let me ask you this. You and I agree that the Epstein file stonewalling is insane and it pisses us off? And yeah. But is that going to make you vote for a Democrat?
Probably not.
Okay, then.
I don't see that. But then again, it might.
Then it's like, even if it's the case,
Republican in the primary.
What's that?
It might make me vote for a different Republican in the primary that isn't associated with Trump.
That's fine. I mean, I don't think that going on, it's going to be the same type of legacy like Bush and Clinton appointees were, where it's the people who are in those adjacent circles who are always running for political office, right? In the case like Clinton's wife then did, right? And then you had John Kerry ran, and and the Bush era is the same thing, right? He had Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich was running for president. So it's like, this happens constantly, but I'm not sure that out of the Trump era, you're going to get a bunch of adjacents who are running for office with any kind of popularity. He's kind of a one-off. He's a populist one-off.
I can almost see that, but we're guaranteed to get the JD Vance running. And what I've seen of Vance and what I've seen of a lot of the Trump policy positions, I quite like them. I like the MAGA movement. But if this is going to tarnish that movement, and then you have someone like JD Vance for a lot of policies I want to see enshrined in not just law, but more of a culture type of thing, it just seems like you're just hurting the movement. Because God forbid a neocon gets in afterwards. And that's even if a Democrat doesn't win.
I don't think that Vance has the same charisma and moxie that Trump did that brought him into this thing. So I don't have a lot of hope that Vance would win anyway.
Okay.
So, the thing is, like, ultimately, the Epstein files hurts him, It remains to be seen if it hurts him in the long term, the short term, because people move on to other things. And you see that the Trump administration is already trying to blow up other national stories. Give him Obama. Give him the fact that Obama did Russian shit. Give him the fact that, Clinton was involved in this. Give him the fact that Hunter Biden's lapped, he's
Yeah,
already
it's totally
trying
on
to
purpose.
shift the national conversation to other things. But eventually it will get shifted to something else.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see
Not
how
to
it plays
mention all
out.
the devastating memes of Vance.
True.
Yeah,
The guy liner doesn't help Vance, I got to say. The guy liner doesn't help Vance. But I mean, maybe you'll see a Tucker Carlson run. Maybe you'll see one of these big media guys go. You know what I mean? One of these bored rich Swanson, Swanson inheritors. Maybe they'll run for it. But anyway, I appreciate the call, Dionysus. It was interesting.